Homecoming 2024 has come and gone, but not before thousands of Red Raiders had a chance to show off their school spirit during a packed schedule of weekend events. Coming up, we'll have a rundown of the biggest highlights from the conclusion of this year's festivities.
The November elections are just around the corner, and Lubbock residents were some of the last Texans to get their chance to shake hands with candidates in one of this year's biggest races. Find out how one candidate headed to the hub city to make sure local voters made their voice heard.
And this year's homecoming game might have been the biggest game in town, but some Red Raiders on the road put on a better show as they worked to maintain their spot in the Big 12 standings. MCTV's Jade Hernandez will have more on that story along with the rest of the headlines from Texas Tech athletics in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Joanna Guererro.
And I'm Theresa Brown. The Texas Tech campus is a bit quieter today following the wrap-up of one of the busiest weeks on campus each year.
Homecoming 2024 officially finished out on the Saturday at the end of the annual homecoming football game. But before that, the Red Raider community enjoyed a full schedule of events on Friday night. The fun started Friday at 6 p.m. with the annual homecoming parade. The action started on Broadway and then moved west towards Memorial Circle. The parade featured dozens of floats created by student organizations and the Greek community, all focused on this year's theme, a Red Raiders Journey, events across the world. The going band from Raiderland, Tech Spirit Squads, the Masked Rider, and Raider Red also joined in to entertain the crowd's lineup along the parade route. Once the parade finished up, participants headed over to Urbanowski Park to get ready for the homecoming pep rally. The pep rally was headlined by the Spirit Squads leading the crowd in cheers. But this year's homecoming corps also took the spotlight as each King and Queen candidate was announced to the crowd. The pep rally also included the going band from Raiderland, who played their traditional favorites to help get fans fired up for Saturday's game. The traditional portion of Friday night's festivities wrapped up with the lighting of the bonfire.
The annual pep rally and bonfire typically marks the conclusion of Friday's homecoming schedule, but this year the university added one more event that gave the Red Raider community a reason to stay on campus later than normal. Directly following the lighting of the bonfire, Texas Tech launched a new comprehensive fundraising campaign with a special homecoming concert featuring Nico Moon and Grammy-nominated band Midland. The show took place at a portable stage that was constructed on the far west side of Urbanowski Park. Nico Moon kicked off the show, and then Midland took over to entertain guests into the night. The musical set was a new feature for homecoming, and the university invited out the entire community along with some VIP guests in hopes of encouraging Red Raiders to contribute to the new campaign. On and On is the name of the new fundraising venture with a goal of raising $1.2 billion between now and August of 2028. Before Friday's concert started, University President Lawrence Skubanek addressed the crowd, announcing that $750,000 had already been collected during the silent phase of the campaign. The 4-year fundraising project is based on 4 key goals: to transform lives, fuel academic excellence, elevate the campus and community, and to build champions. The funds raised will be used for various purposes, including recruiting and hiring new faculty, building new academic and athletic facilities, and retaining students through more financial aid, as well as increasing academic growth and development.
After a busy Friday night, many fans woke up early on Saturday and headed to the Jones AT&T Stadium to tailgate and prepare for the big showdown against Baylor. But beyond the football action, one of the last and longest running homecoming traditions also took over the field. During halftime, the 2024 homecoming court took center stage in anticipation of the crowning of this year's King and Queen. 5 King and Queen candidates were narrowed down from the original court during Friday's rowdy Raider rally at the Sub. Then on Saturday night, this year's homecoming royalty was announced in front of a packed stadium at the Jones. Tate Hutchinson and McKeely Underwood were crowned as the 2024 homecoming King and Queen. Hutchinson is a senior kinesiology major from Paducah, Texas, representing Sigma Chi, and Underwood is a senior public relations major from Lubbock, who won on behalf of Kappa Kappa Gamma. Both candidates will maintain their titles through the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year until a new set of candidates is announced during the next year's homecoming kickoff.
Red Raiders had to brave some chilly weather and windy conditions as they attended this past weekend's homecoming activities on Friday night.
The fall weather continued into Saturday, but luckily rain wasn't also a factor as thousands packed into the Jones. But will wet weather be a concern again as we head into the last full week of October? Chief Weather Specialist Elisabeth Herring joins us with a look at what you can expect in today's MCTV forecast. Elisabeth?
Fortunately for Texas Tech students, their plans did not get ruined by any rain this weekend. However, we did see a little bit of precipitation throughout the South Plains area earlier this morning. However, those scattered showers didn't total more than about ½ an inch. However, 2 hours west in New Mexico, historical rainfall was recorded in Roswell. Saturday night, a new all-time daily rainfall record of 5.78 inches was recorded, breaking the previous record set back in 1901. First responders had to rescue drivers from vehicles, and unfortunately, there were 2 fatalities. The major flooding ruined roadways as well as highways and even began to flood into people's homes and yards. While obviously here in Lubbock Saturday night we didn't see any rainfall, it looks like those conditions are going to remain clear as we head throughout the rest of our week. We saw a cloudy weekend and it looks like finally we are going to see some sunshine, those clouds beginning to move out today and tomorrow, yielding to mostly sunny skies as we head into the rest of our week. Lows in the South Plains varying off the Caprock, warmer with lows in the lower 60s. Snyder, Jade, low of 62 tonight. Up in northern South Plains, a little bit cooler. Those clear skies also help contribute to those cooler conditions. Demet 44, Plainview 45, Morton 49. As we look into tomorrow, we are back in those upper 80s, lower 90s throughout the South Plains area. A stark contrast from those upper 70s we saw last week. Snyder 87, Jayden and Spur 90 degrees, Turkey 88, Demet 83, Plainview 84, and sunny skies. Tonight here locally in Lubbock, low of 54. Tomorrow warming up to 88 degrees, but do keep in mind that those morning temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler, so you might want to grab a light jacket or sweater on your way out the door. Looking the rest of the week, staying in those upper 80s Wednesday and Thursday, high of 89. We could potentially see 90 degrees, lows in the upper 50s as we look into our weekend, cooling off just a bit as we head into Friday, high of 79. Saturday, high of 77, Sunday and Monday highs in the lower 80s, and our lows for this weekend back in the lower 50s. We haven't seen any significant rainfall here in the South Plains for about 30 days, and that's further contributing to our drought conditions. So hopefully as we head into the end of this month, we see some rain moving our way. I'm Elisabeth, and it's back to y'all.
Thanks, Elisabeth. Homecoming may have topped the headlines here on campus last week, but across the country, the focus has been on the upcoming November elections. And here in the Hub City, a heated fight over one of Texas's U.S. Senate seats has given voters a chance to hear from the candidates in person. Last Thursday, current U.S. Senator and Republican candidate Ted Cruz made a campaign stop in central Lubbock. Cruz spoke to a crowd of more than 500 supporters at the Texas Cafe and Bar on 50th Street. Cruz addressed the crowd regarding his stance on some of the most important issues being debated during this year's campaign. Following the campaign stop, Cruz sat down with MCTV's Kylie Phillips to find out more about the focus of the local rallies during his latest attempt to maintain his seat in the Senate.
We'll be all the way from East Texas to West Texas and all the way from the Panhandle to the Valley. And what we're doing at every event, we're doing rallies to energize and turn people out and really focus on the issues in this race. I think elections should be about the records of both candidates.
Thursday's rally was the second political event focused on the race for Texas's open Senate spot. Cruz's opponent, Colin Allred, also made a stop here in Lubbock on the Texas Tech campus the previous weekend. Coming up on Thursday, Kylie Phillips will have more from her interview with Senator Cruz in this week's edition of MCTV's Inside the Issues. And as a reminder, early voting for the November election starts today and continues until Friday, November 1st.
As we mentioned earlier, Homecoming 2024 came to an end with the annual football game on Saturday afternoon here on campus.
This year's game may not have ended as many fans had predicted, but luckily there were other Red Raiders in action hoping to improve on their current record. MCTV's Jade Hernandez joins us in studio with a rundown of all the latest athletic action in sports. Jade?
Thank you, Theresa and Joanna. It's been an action-packed weekend for Texas Tech athletics. Let's dive into the latest results from football, soccer, and volleyball. Texas Tech football faced a challenging matchup at home against Baylor. Despite a strong offensive showing, the Red Raiders fell 59-35 to the Bears. Lubbock native Sawyer Robertson shined in his return, throwing for a career-high 5 touchdowns and connecting 3 times with Josh Cameron. Baylor snapped their 8-game conference losing streak while ending Tech's 6-game home winning streak. Quarterback Baron Morton led the Red Raiders offense, completing 33 of 49 passes for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. Morton has now thrown for over 1,500 yards on the season, with his 3 touchdowns marking the second time he's thrown for multiple touchdowns in a game this year. Wide receiver Caleb Douglas was a bright spot for Tech's offense, catching 9 passes for 99 yards and 3 touchdowns. Douglas showcased his ability to find the end zone, increasing his season total to 5 touchdowns. Tight end Jalen Conyers also contributed with a trick play touchdown pass to Douglas, adding creativity to the Red Raiders' attack. On the ground, standout running back Taj Brooks continued to solidify his position among the nation's top rushers. Brooks ran for 125 yards on 25 carries, including a 31-yard touchdown in the third quarter. Brooks remains third nationally in rushing yards per game, and his consistency has been a key part of Tech's offensive game plan this season. Despite these impressive individual performances, Baylor's relentless offense was too much for the Red Raiders to handle. Texas Tech now looks ahead to a critical Big 12 matchup against TCU next week as they aim to bounce back and continue their strong conference run. In women's soccer, the number 19 Texas Tech Red Raiders extended their unbeaten streak to 13 games with a dominant 3-0 victory over Cincinnati. Taylor Strzelecki led the way with a goal and an assist, playing a key role in the win. Her 7th goal of the season came in the 88th minute, sealing Tech's 8th win in their last 9 matches. Caitlin Giametta opened the scoring with a beautiful first-half goal, while Peyton Parsons converted a penalty kick in the 81st minute to give Tech a commanding lead. Parsons' 9th goal of the season, combined with her assist on Strzelecki's goal, highlights her consistent impact on the team. Goalkeeper Faith Wynn was solid once again, making 2 saves and earning her 10th clean sheet of the season. With only 1 match left in the regular season, the Red Raiders are tied with TCU at the top of the Big 12 standings. They'll look to clinch a 2nd straight Big 12 title this Friday when they host BYU at the John Walker Soccer Complex. On the volleyball court, the Texas Tech Red Raiders had a tough night in Ames, Iowa, falling to Iowa State in straight sets. Aaliyah McDonald led Tech with 8 kills and a .538 hitting percentage, but it wasn't enough to overcome a dominant Cyclone squad. Amiri Hendricks-Walker and Rachel Van Gorp powered Iowa State's offense, each recording 10 kills. Despite strong defensive efforts from Maddie Correa, who had 12 digs, and Hannah Borer, who contributed 14 assists and reached the 2,000 assist milestone for her career, Tech struggled to find consistency. The Red Raiders now look ahead to their upcoming road matches against Cincinnati and West Virginia as they aim to bounce back and regain momentum in Big 12 play. That's all for today's Texas Tech Sports Update. Stay tuned for more updates as the Red Raiders continue their quest for victories across the board. Back to you, Joanna and Theresa.
Thanks, Jade. So, Theresa, did you have a chance to stop by any of last week's homecoming festivities?
Sadly, no, but what about you?
I did not. I had an essay to write.
All the homework.
Yes. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.